what your body did is instead of taking this excess and storing it around your internal organs, leading you to a chronic disease situation, is it stored it in fat. And when you look in the mirror, you villainize that, but let's not, because it did that to save your life. Now let's work with the body. Dr. Mindy here, and on this video, we are gonna talk about cellulite. You guys have been asking me. There are a few little changes you need to make to fasting, a few other things I want you to think of outside of fasting that affects cellulite. So on this video, I'm gonna teach you what those things are. And those of you that are new to my channel, welcome. Hopefully you know, or you will hear on all of my videos, that I am a woman on a mission. I wanna get 1 million people fasting. Fasting is this incredible tool to heal ourselves, and hopefully everything you want to learn about fasting you'll find here on my channel. Those of you that share my videos out, again, I love being on this journey with you, and I love hearing your fasting stories, so put them in the comments, and just so grateful for you. Okay, cellulite, and I have here 5 different things that I want to take you through, so stay with me as I go through this whole video. The first is I want you to understand what cellulite is. And I'm going to make this as simple as I can. So yes, cellulite is fat, but it has a few other things going on that gives it that dimple appearance that we don't like. So first, let's talk about what fat is. Let's stop villainizing fat. All it is your miraculous body had to find somewhere to store the excess. So it was either excess sugar, the glucose, and that can be from unhealthy eating. It was excess hormones. Maybe you've got some estrogen dominance, or you've got PCOS and you got some high testosterone. Maybe it had to store extra insulin because of all the glucose that has been surging through your body, or it's extra toxins. So when we go to lose weight, we've got to address those 3 things. And what you're gonna see is that with cellulite, there's a big toxic piece. So I wanna talk about that in a moment. So stop villainizing fat, let's thank it, because what your body did is instead of taking this excess and storing it around your internal organs, leading you to a chronic disease situation, is it stored it in fat. And when you look in the mirror, you villainize that, but let's not, because it did that to save your life. Now let's work with the body. So that's what fat is. Second thing I want you to know is cellulite has a couple different pieces to it. So mixed with these fat cells are fibrous cords, and these fibrous cords pull in the fat and they give that dimpled appearance. So at the end of this video, I'm going to talk about some hacks that I like to break these cords up. And these cords, the rigidity of cellulite often happens because of a lack of circulation, because of accumulation of toxins, and I want to talk to you about how we go after that. So fat is excess, cellulite has these cords. Now, what type of fast would you use to be able to shrink these fat cells? Well, fasting of all kinds will shrink the fat cells. But when we know that there's more than just glucose, when we know there's toxins, when we know there's these hormones in there, we need to lean into some of the longer fasts, specifically stimulating autophagy. So if you and I were at the grocery store and we're standing in line and you found out I'm a fasting expert and you're like, oh, what fast should I do to be able to get rid of my cellulite? I wouldn't even hesitate. I would be like autophagy fasting. You want to stimulate autophagy as much as you possibly can. What happens with autophagy is you not only burn the extra glucose and hormones and toxins, but you make your cells stronger. When we go into shorter fasts, like 13-hour fasts, what you're doing is you're moving over to this new energy system, this fat burning energy system, and you burn fat. But when you go longer into like 17-hour fast, 24-hour fast, you're going into these states of autophagy where the cells really repair themselves, and you can detox your cells, you can get rid of the extra hormones, you can clean that cell up in a deeper way that the shorter fasts won't do. So more autophagy fasting. Autophagy, by the way, will max somewhere between 17 and 72 hours. So you're going to want to do some fasts that are on a pretty regular basis in that time frame. Now, some of you are experiencing that your weight loss results, your cellulite's really stubborn. If that's the case, I just want to make one other point here. The 36-hour fast done once a quarter can often help with extreme weight loss resistance. So you might do a scenario of like 5 days a week, maybe you do autophagy fasting. And then maybe 1 day a week you stretch your fast to 24 hours, and maybe 1 day a week you don't fast. And then once a quarter you throw a 36-hour fast in. That's a phenomenal approach to start to go after this cellulite, okay? Now, what else can you do? So there's a couple of things I recommend for cellulite. One is let's start building your muscle. And I'm gonna give you some of my favorite hacks for building muscle. And I've done videos on this. When you go to break your fast, especially if you've gone 17 hours, I want you to break it with protein. What the longer fast will do is break down the fat cell. What the protein will do will nourish these collagen, these fibrous tendrils, and make them more flexible. So let's break your fast with protein. I also think that some protein cycling days, I've done videos on this where you're doing 20 grams of protein every couple of hours. That can be really good for getting enough collagen in there to make these fibril tendrils more flexible and not rigid and hard, okay? So more protein, break your fast with protein, and let's work on building muscle. So more strength training. And then you combine that with the fasting I talked about at the beginning. Now, last thing I want to point out is there's some other incredible hacks for cellulite. One, you've got to improve circulation. So we don't want these fibril tendrils to get rigid. So let's get blood flow to them. You can do that through things like walking, something as simple as walking. I personally, right now, I'm doing a half an hour to an hour of walking every day. Really calms the brain, but it also improves circulation. You can do a vibration plate. If you have those vibration plates, it will shake up those fibrous tendrils and get them a little more flexible. You can do an infrared sauna where we're heating the cells up and we're bringing some more elasticity. Maybe even a hot yoga class where you're sweating and you're getting some stretching going on with these fibrous tendrils. And then, as always, making sure that you're improving your lymph. I've done some videos on different lymph techniques and opening up the detox pathways. So go look at the videos that I've done on opening detox pathways. So, and the last thing, if you've done all of that, is it may be time for a good old-fashioned detox. So if we have a lot of strategies on detox that I recommend, if you are looking at toxic load as a source of your cellulite issues, one of the number one things you want to look at are heavy metals. Heavy metals tend to make more restriction in those fibrous tendrils. So get a heavy metal test. Get a Dutch test. These are two tests we do very frequently on our community to let you know if you are able to detox properly and what your toxic load is. So more fasting, more autophagy fasting. Break your fast with protein, look at your toxic load. All of that makes a big difference when you're going after cellulite. And a couple other videos you might find interesting if you want to lose weight. You guys love a video I did called Weight Loss Tips. You can go check that out. And as always, if you have questions, put them in the comments. And if you have a great win with cellulite, please put that in the comments as well. We are an incredible community here. I want everybody to learn from your experience. So share your win. And as always, never give up on yourself. Little hacks like this, you will see that your body was meant to release cellulite. Hope that helps.